convoy stranded in Syria deserts after U.S. bombing. The U.S.-led coalition says it will keep blocking a convoy of evacuated Islamic State militants in Syria from reaching IS-held territory on the Iraq border. The hundreds of fighters recently surrendered an enclave on Syria's border with Lebanon. They agreed with Hezbollah and the Syrian government that they would live with their families and had its worst. But the coalition says it and Iraq were not part of the deal and on Tuesday bombed the road ahead of the convoy. The buses are now stranded in an area of deserts on the Syrian government control between the towns of Humayma and al-Sukhnah. However, reports say the Syrian army and Hezbollah are seeking a new route for the convoy, and a monitoring group says dozens of people have already left in cars heading for the IS-held city of Deir al-Zour. The coalition will not condone ISIS or IS fighters moving further east to the Iraqi border, the coalition said in the statement. Relocating terror threats from one place to another for someone else to deal with is not a lasting solution, it added. There are some 300 IS militants on board the convoy, described by the coalition as experienced fighters. The coalition says it has not bombed them because about 300 women and children are also present. But it says a tank, armed vehicle and other vehicles facilitating the relocation have been targeted. Food and water has been provided to the convoy, the statement says, and the coalition has also, via Russia, offered suggestions to Syria on possible ways of rescuing the women and children. Meanwhile, the Syrian army and Hezbollah were seeking a new route for the IS fighters and their families to reach IS territory near the Iraq border. Reuters news agency quoted a pro-government military source as saying, and the UK-based monitoring group the Syrian Observatory for Human Rights said dozens of people had already left the stranded convoy in cars in a bid to reach the IS-held city of Deir by themselves. Lebanese, Syrian, and Hezbollah forces agreed ceasefires with IS militants last week, days after attacking the jihadists' final foothold in the Lebanon-Syria border area. More than 300 million militants and their families were allowed to leave for Abu Qamar, a town in the Syrian province of Deir al-Zour that is 6 kilometers from the Iraqi border. After the deal was announced, the Lebanon's army chief, Jean-Joseph Arnd, said he had wanted to recover the bodies of Lebanese soldiers captured in 2014, not risk and more lives. But Iraqi Prime Minister Haider al-Abadi criticized it. We fight the terrorists in Iraq. We do not send them to Syria, he said. Meanwhile, the U.S. envoy to the coalition, Greg al-Zour, said IS militants should be killed on the battlefield, not bussed across Syria to the Iraqi border without Iraq's consent. Iraqi forces, backed by U.S.-led coalition airstrikes, have been battling to earth IS fighters from the towns they control in northern Iraq.